Welcome back to Q Shine's blog, where it's a flavor party going on. Woo, y'all. Today I got a sweet treat for you. I got my easy, moist, pineapple glazed butter cake with pineapple filling. Oh, yes, and it is a delicious treat to eat. Now, for starters, to cut time down and cut down time in the kitchen and cut down on the ingredients you use, we gonna use your favorite box cake mix. Yes, any yellow box cake mix that you like. Now you gonna need 2 boxes, and you gonna simply follow the directions on the back of the box to mix up the ingredients. The only thing we gonna do different is we gonna use 1/3 a cup of oil. Now you use the oil of your choice, remember. And we gonna add in 1.5 sticks of melted butter. Next, we gonna get everything mixed up, making sure not to overbeat the ingredients. And then we just gonna fold in our secret ingredient. 1 cup of sour cream. We gonna fold it in nice and evenly. We gonna set our bowl of cake mix to the side, and we gonna get our pan buttered up to receive that delicious butter cake mix. Next, you're going to need a 20-ounce can of good quality pineapples. You don't want to skimp on the pineapples. Now, we're going to reserve the pineapple juice that comes along inside the can for later. We want to get those pineapples and we want to chop them up to your liking. I like mine pretty small, but still chunky. I like a little texture in my filling. Now in a saucepan on medium heat, we're going to get 2 tablespoons of butter, a 3/4 cup of brown sugar, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and we're going to let this cook until all the sugar is incorporated. Then we're going to get those chopped pineapples into the mixture, and we just going to let it cook together and then simmer. We're going to bring the heat to low and just let it simmer until it's at the thickness that you like. Finally, we're going to add in a tablespoon of that pineapple juice and mix it thoroughly well. Next, turn the fire off and allow the pineapple filling to cool. Now into that buttered pan, we're going to add 1/2 of the cake batter. We're going to make sure that it's evenly distributed throughout the pan. Now we're going to take that cooled pineapple filling and we're going to evenly distribute it over the top of that cake batter. If you want, you can take the back of a fork or a butter knife and just kind of swirl it through the batter. Finally, we're going to add the remaining cake batter over the top of that filling that's sitting on that cake batter. And boy, is this going to be a wonderful treat. Now, we're going to make sure that everything is even, and we're going to get that cake batter into the oven on 325 degrees. We're going to allow this to cook per the instructions that are on the back of your cake box. Now, you also know your oven. You know if it cooks faster, if it's hotter than most, so you'll have to make the adjustment accordingly. Now, after about 1.5 hours, I had the most delicious, fluffy, moist, buttery cake. Oh, it was something to behold. Mmm, 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 mmm. I used a toothpick in the center of the cake to make sure that it was fully done. The toothpick came out clean and dry, so I knew it was time to get the cake out the oven. Next, I allowed the cake to cool to the side while I got started on that wonderful pineapple glaze. In a saucepan on low to medium heat, I added in 2 tablespoons of butter and 2 cups of powdered sugar. Some call it confectioner's sugar. I gave it a stir, allowed it to incorporate together and began to melt. Once it melted, I added in 4 tablespoons of that pineapple juice that we reserved to the side. I then turned the fire down to low and allowed this to simmer until it began to bubble and become sticky, not too thick. It was thin and sticky. I used my spoon to do a test. I dipped the spoon in and watched how it slid off the spoon when I held it up in the air. Once it was to the consistency that I liked, I turned off the fire. Using the toothpick, I poked holes all over the top of that wonderful cake, and I spooned that hot pineapple glaze all over the top of that cake. I even got carried away when I got to the center. I put extra glaze in the center. Y'all be careful because you don't want to make your cake cave in. But it's all well. It's going to get eaten just the same. Y'all, this wonderful, delicious, easy pineapple butter cake with pineapple filling pairs wonderfully with some pineapple sherbet or a scoop of vanilla ice cream. I know that this will be a fan favorite. If y'all like seeing these delicious recipes, come on back to Q Shine's blog. Bring a friend or family member. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. I can't wait to see you back. Bye-bye.